Radical Heights was one of the worst battle royales I have ever played my entire time of playing battle royales. A lot of this is stemmed from a video I saw from Irex Master in which he played the game Hyperscape, a game that clearly was either just abandoned by the developers or has zero player backing at all. And so it kind of made me start to think when I was watching the video, because it kind of looks like an Apex Legends knockoff, to be completely honest with you. But I started to think about it. I said, wow, that reminds me of another battle royale. Another battle royale that just basically got abandoned, shut down after a couple months, that everyone apparently enjoyed. It was just so awful. There was just so many fundamental issues with the game, servers. It was a nightmare. And for some reason, streamers loved it. I'll never figure that out. There were players that enjoyed it, which I'll talk about momentarily. But Radical Heights was a game that came out pretty much at the height of the battle royale, when Fortnite was huge, PUBG, Blackout was out at the time, I think. But there was so many battle royales out that this studio called Boss Key Games that made Lawbreakers, which if you don't know what Lawbreakers is, I don't blame you. It was a game that lasted probably maybe a couple months, pretty much started putting the company under because it was such a colossal failure. It was essentially like an Overwatch clone or like some sort of FPS where you had like parkour movement and stuff. It was pretty cool just because I played it at PAX East one year when actually I think I met Cliff Blazinski, who was the founder. And if you don't know who Cliff Blazinski is, he was the guy that was kind of like the main dude at Gears of War, like Epic Games, and also had a hand in Fortnite, oddly enough, which I thought was a little funny. But apparently the game was a colossal failure, and basically no one played it. It had just bad reviews and everything else. I, again, never played it on launch. I did play it at PAX, but the company itself, Boss Key, never really updated it. They never really did much. I think they just gave up on the game pretty quickly. But then they moved on to an apparent, I think it was, he called it a passion project, Radical Heights, which was, again, just a cash grab. They called it the extreme early access. That's what it was called, sorry. And it was the most alpha version of a game I've ever seen. Graphically, it looked terrible. The gameplay was extremely clunky. The map was terrible. There was like bikes that you could ride that were awful. It was just, there were so many issues within the game, and people praised it. And I think it was because they saw it was like early access or extreme early access or something. But I was like, you can't warrant, like, this game was so bad on so many different levels fundamentally that it made no sense. And by calling it an extreme early access is why I think they did it because it was like a 1980s like battle royale where you were kind of like in a weird video game. It kind of felt like, but it was awful. It looked terrible. There were actually, I think there was parts of the game where you couldn't even really play it. I remember I had like a weird screen glitch where my screen would flash green and stuff, and it drove me insane. You can still log into it, but you can't play it. Like, you can still like open the game within Steam, but you can't play it ever again. The thing that is just drove me insane, though, is it never got any backing after. They gave up after like 2 months, maybe a month in, and it just shut. That's when the company shut down because the company was losing money and they needed to find a way to help like keep people, employed and stuff like that. So it was very clear this was a cash grab. The game felt like it was just built within a couple days, and again, not a good game. It was just so many fundamental issues that I don't think they could get over that hump. If this was a passion project, it would have looked a lot better than it did when it first came out. But I have some good news for those who may want to play this game at some point, because you might be able to play it one day. Because apparently there are fans of the game, which, no offense to the people that did enjoy this game, I just didn't think there were many people that did actually enjoy it. And apparently there's going to be a group of fans that are trying to build the game up again and actually make a real Radical Heights game, which might be interesting, because I generally like those fan-backed projects or the fan-built projects. Like, there's like a KOTOR remake, or there's a new Call of Duty thing that's coming out, which I'll probably talk about in a separate video at some point down the line. But it's going to be very interesting to see what they do with this game and see an actual, real Radical Heights, because there were promising points in it. It didn't work. Nothing worked in that game, and I wish I got to see a game that was fully ready for like a finished release in which I could play. You couldn't play the game. There was just so many issues. I've said this a few times already. There was just a lot of issues, And so I think it'll be interesting to see what fans, people who who have a vision for the game and what it could have been, actually develop the game, So I'm interested to see what they end up doing. But going back to Radical Heights, it's just, man, what a disappointing game. Basically, when I watched that Hyperscape video, I just thought of Radical Heights. I was like, oh, that's what this game is. Just a game that just exists or existed and had just no backing from the developer or the community. I think it would have failed, just being completely honest with you. I think the game would have failed for so many other reasons other than the fundamental issues. It just didn't seem like it would have competed at all. It would not have competed with the big battle royales of today. I think it would have, like with PUBG, Fortnite, Apex, Call of Duty, that game would have been screwed anyway. but I think it'll have like a small player base. It could be like a cult following kind of thing. I don't know. But to be honest, it was not anything special. I think, again, if that game came out now, it still would have been screwed to begin with. So, unfortunately, the developers went under. I hope they all ended up going to better places, but it's unfortunate, So that's Radical Heights. Let me know what you think. If you played Radical Heights, let me know in the comment section if you enjoyed it or not. I'm genuinely curious if people actually enjoyed playing Radical Heights, and why did you enjoy it? Because I could not play it. It was so bad. I remember a couple friends of mine actually did enjoy it, but I don't know if that was because streamers enjoyed it. Anyway, let me know in the comment section below. If you liked the video, like the video. If you liked the video just enough, maybe you can subscribe or follow. And thanks for watching. Bye.